this evening, and I yield to him 4 minutes.
Gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the chairman who co-sponsored this bill with me, along with the gentleman for Virginia, Mr. Scott, chairman of the Crime Subcommittee of Judiciary Committee. H.R. 580 does only one thing. It restores the checks and balances that until last year had long been part of the process for filling vacancies in U.S. attorneys' offices. I won't go through the history of how interim U.S. attorneys were appointed because the chairman has spelled that out. The gentleman from North Carolina has reaffirmed that history. But I want to address the one issue my friend from North Carolina raised, which is were we to take a longer time, this might have been, at least to his way of thinking, a better approach. The whole goal of this bill is to restore the status quo ante. Before a sneak attack change on the law utilized in the Patriot Act without anyone calling special attention to it, undiscussed by the conferees or by the members of either this House or the other body, change that law to give the executive branch total authority in this particular area. The senator, the member of the other body, who was chairman of the Judiciary Committee of the other body during this time, has said that he didn't know about the provision until a colleague alerted him to it last month. The former chairman's staff told him that the Department of Justice provided the language and that it was inserted in the conference report by a member of his staff who was made U.S. Attorney in Utah only 4 months later. We have a different story from the Department of Justice. Will Marcella, the former head of the Office of Legislative Affairs, now claims sole responsibility for the provision and says he pursued the change on his own without the knowledge or coordination of his superiors at the Justice Department or the White House. This is a department, the Department of Justice, that says it fired 8 U.S. attorneys for not coordinating their work 100% with the priorities of the department. And yet we're supposed to believe that they are permitting a relatively low-level official to fly solo in changing federal law on the appointment of U.S. attorneys without any other departmental involvement? It is for this reason, I say to my friend from North Carolina, that the first thing we need to do is to go back to the status quo ante. The compromise worked out in the Reagan administration with Attorney General Ed Meese, the Democratic House, and the Republican Senate in 1986, which allowed for this process where we gave for the first time the Attorney General the right to name an interim U.S. attorney, providing the district court with the theoretical ability, should the court choose to do so, to replace or, as has been much more likely, simply reaffirm the naming of the interim U.S. attorney if no full U.S. attorney had been confirmed yet by the Senate. What is clear from the emails provided to the Judiciary Committee is that the Department of Justice and White House employees, whatever their motivation in pushing this proposal originally, whatever their motivation, they quickly figured out that the provision created the possibility to circumvent the Senate and decided to exploit that power.
Gentleman's time has expired.
I'd ask unanimous consent for 1 additional minute.
Great. Gentleman is granted 1 minute.
One email between the Department of Justice and the White House depicts an effort to slow walk a nomination so an interim appointee can stay in place. The two employees discussed an interim appointee in Arkansas who they knew was unlikely to get Senate confirmation. An employee in the White House counsel's office writes, quote, "If this is a Section 546 appointment for unlimited duration, he can call himself U.S. Attorney. Our talkers should avoid referring to him as interim." The Attorney General's Chief of Staff replies, and I quote, "We should gum this to death. Our guy is in there, so the status quo is good for us. pledge a desire for a Senate-confirmed U.S. attorney, and otherwise hunker down. I suggest there is ample evidence in the record to recognize that the change we made in the Patriot Act, without the knowledge of, as far as I can tell, any representative of either house, was an ill-considered change, and the first thing we need to do, and what this bill does, is bring the law back to what it existed.